Something got kicked out.
Thought we'd all be at the pod together.
Hi, how y'all doing?
We got video. Myself. Other way. Hi, all.
Yay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Fine, halfway.
Hi. Oh, I want to see them.
So good evening, everybody, and welcome to our second parent forum for the Longwood Central School District. We're so happy to see folks who have registered and are going to be with us for the next 2 hours and asking your questions and for us to be able to answer them as best we can. We had a very successful evening last night before our glitch was indicated, where a good number of folks weren't able to register, but I think we're past that for this evening and we'll be past that for tomorrow, and upwards of 1,000 registrations possible tonight and again tomorrow. What we will do to try to help out for folks who got closed out last evening is pull together an extra hour tomorrow. So we'll tack on an extra hour to our Thursday meeting, beginning at 11 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m. In the hopes of being able to accommodate everybody who has some questions, or at least the ones that we can get through to tomorrow. And then, of course, on Friday morning, we will have another forum just with our staff and conclude the week with that communication. So with that, I'd just like to remind folks of a couple of things that a good number of folks last night and who had emailed us after our time together had indicated that many of their questions had been answered by previous parents who had had the opportunity to ask them. So if that does happen for you, it would be great, because we do have a good number of people who want to ask questions tonight. And if you received an answer to your question by someone else asking it, if you could drop yourself out of and just continue to watch the program, that would be great, and give people who haven't been able to have their questions answered that opportunity. After this week, you will begin to receive lots of information from your building principals and from our district directors. They will be reaching out to their families, building by building, through both virtual connections like this and through videos. There will be some in-person orientation for children new to the building, coming up from a grade from another building. So I hope that your schedules will permit a good amount of communication and contact with our staff between now and Labor Day weekend, because it's going to be coming, and lots of information and continued answers to questions will be available over the next 2 weeks. So we're feeling pretty good about that, and we're feeling pretty good about where we stand in getting our students back, both in the hybrid model from our plan, as well as with our distance learning. So the purpose for this evening, as you may know, is to answer your questions regarding our reopening plan. Many parents have very case-specific questions for their children with regards to special needs and such. Those questions are difficult for us to answer in this milieu because they're not necessarily part of the plan. But those are questions that we encourage you to connect with your building principal, their administration, and our other staff members who will be in school now all the way up until Labor Day weekend. So tonight is for, here's our plan. We have questions about the plan and best for us to answer those. So with that, I see that we have Roseanne up first, and we're going to start our list. So Roseanne, if you can hear me, and when you're ready.
No, it's Jean Carbone.
Jean, I'm sorry. Okay, I see a different name up there. So hello, Jean. Jen.
Hi,
How are you tonight?
good. How are you?
Good. How's the family?
The family is doing great. Thank you for
Good.
asking and thank you for doing this.
You betcha. Anytime. What you got?
My question is, how are tests going to work? How are they to make it fair for all students? Are the kids going to have the tests maybe just Wednesdays when everybody's virtual? Or do we know how that's going to be decided?
So we are attempting to make the start of the school year, the scheduling that our students will be given, the same as if we were all together for 5 days. Now, of course, that's going to be a little bit difficult, scheduling exams and assessments, but when possible, to hold to the same schedule that we would have had if our children were with us for 5 days. So you'll see a little bit of a tweaking on that, depending upon the courses and the grade level. But our goal is to try to keep this as normal as possible with assessments that'll be scheduled during the same time as if our children were with us.
Okay, because I would think that the students who are home might have a little bit more of an advantage if their tests aren't timed. But
Well, that may be true, but you know what? We're learning some things about assessments as well. And if Mike Lonergan's opinion is probably less than 10 or 15 years from now, tests will be less about what you perform and more about what you can learn by taking a test. And maybe we're on the verge of that in this process as well. So we're taking real careful notes, and we need for you to let us know how that works as well.
okay, perfect. Two other questions. Are there going to be a staggered opening for the students at the schools, or is everybody going in at once?
A standard opening.
Staggered, as in maybe
staggered.
ninth graders go in first and then 10th graders 20 minutes later.
Our
Everybody hitting the
arrival
buildings.
schedules are the same as they were.
Okay.
Yeah, no staggered schedules, yes.
And in the high school with all the students, are the hallways going to be one way or two way?
Yeah, we're working on that now, so students know exactly the directions that we would prefer they were to be at. We're working on signage right now, and we're hoping that together with some really good social distancing planning, everybody wearing a mask, everybody washing their hands a number of times during the day, that we're going to beat this and we're going to be okay. So that's all part of the plan.
Okay.
Those are 3 great questions.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we'll see you soon, okay?
See ya.
You bet. I think Tiffany is in the waiting room.
Hi, how are you?
Tiffany, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. I do have 2 questions. I'm going to make it quick because I know you have a lot. I do want to thank you because I think that you guys in the spring, the teachers were phenomenal, and I can't say enough nice things about them. I really feel that the school district communicated very well compared to other districts when I was listening to it. But my only question is because I have a middle schooler and I do have one that's going into kindergarten. So I'm a little nervous on what the plan is for more like the first week of school and the distance learning for a kindergartner that's never really sat in front of a computer before.
Sure, good question.
So for your middle school student will be a 5th grader? Is
He'll be
that
in
correct?
sixth grade this
Oh,
year.
6th grade. So we're hoping to keep things as normal as possible in terms of the student coming into school. With the kindergarten, we know that they're little. Some of them, we can't underestimate their ability to use technology, but we also know that there's a value to paper and pencil and crayons. So we are looking at all of that. We met as administrators today. Tomorrow we will be meeting with the teachers and thinking of what this is going to look like in terms of the hybrid model with the distance learning. Because we do realize we don't want students, we're concerned about their screen time as well. So we're looking at being creative and making sure students have, are meeting the standards that are expected.
So Tiffany, you're going to get all of that described to you by your building principal. There's going to be a lot of videos going out and a lot of this happening over the next couple of weeks. So you'll see very clearly what that's going to look like and the expectations in the building for both the middle school and the elementary school.
So my second question was, for my sister.
She's muted.
Can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we don't have you here. We see you, but we don't hear you. Did we mute her?
She's mute.
She's muted.
You gotta demute. There you go. No,
Yeah, she's,
She's off mute. She's not muted now. Yeah.
It says I'm not muted.
Can she run the question in the chat?
Can you hear me now?
We don't have a chat right now.
Still can't hear me?
we're not, it's not us, huh?
I don't think so.
Sorry, Tiffany, we're not hearing you at all.
Okay.
Yeah, we have audio.
Is it still, yeah, my audio says it's fine.
did you ask her?
Tiffany, do me a favor if you hear me, please, okay? Because whatever reason, it's either your end, hopefully it's not on our end either, but you have my email. Whatever you're asking for right now, email me this evening so I can get back to you before we all go to sleep tonight, okay? Good, thank you. You bet. So we're gonna try Lisa.
Good evening.
Hey, there she is.
I have 3 questions. I have 2 children in elementary school. The first question is, I'd like to know when Longwood plans to add the alternating Wednesdays to the in-person school schedule, like many local districts have that are doing the hybrid plan.
What, I don't understand that question. Can you rephrase that, please?
Right now, we have 2 cohorts. They go Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday, and there's
Yes.
no students in the building on Wednesdays. A lot of local districts currently are alternating Wednesdays between the 2 cohorts. I want to know if that's in Longwood's future plans.
That was one of the plans that were looked at, but we left Wednesday for deep cleaning and PD for teachers, as well as differentiated instruction for students, for those teachers to meet with in small groups.
Okay, so that's not in the upcoming plans at all, to add the alternating Wednesdays?
Correct, Lisa. It's not part of our plan, yes.
Okay. My second question is, I'd like to know if the school plans to record any live streaming so it's available for children with limited computers at home or working parents who are utilizing childcare?
We are working with our teachers to make sure that we are providing a rigorous and equitable experience through this process. So we are working on that. We do know what the value is of having a teacher provide instruction, live instruction, as well as recording it for students to revisit that lesson. So we are looking at all of that.
Okay, great. And my third and final question was regarding the mask policy, particularly in the elementary schools. I just want to refer to the New York State Education Department reopening guidance, page 36, where it clearly states that students who are wearing such coverings that would impair their health or mental health, or such coverings that would present a challenge, distraction, or obstruction to education services, especially in younger children. I understand that the plan is for them to wear masks all day, but clearly most of the students in elementary school would pretty much cover any of those things. So I'm just curious, I understand the need for, as a healthcare provider and as a parent, the need for masks at buses, bathrooms, and hallways. But I feel like if the desks are socially distanced in the classroom, that it would definitely impinge on most of these younger students' learning. So I want to just know, I understand that it might be at the discretion of the teacher, but I don't think that that's really appropriate, to be perfectly honest. So I just want to have some kind of insight on that.
Sure, great question, and I'm sure there's many other parents here tonight that has the same concern. So we are committed to start the school year with everybody in our school buildings wearing a mask. That includes our children. That the language that you read is particular for students who may have special needs, and the accommodation where there is maybe some of our students who won't wear a mask because of their doctor's documentation, and that they shouldn't be wearing a mask. We will honor that, that is for sure. As far as mask breaks during the course of the day, it's our goal to do three things: social distance our children appropriately, start off the year, maybe that will be relaxed, I don't know yet, with masks and good hygiene that we're hoping will decrease the chances for any type of communication of this virus to a minimum. With mask breaks during the course of each one of the classes that our teachers will be responsible for doing. So maybe we'll get to that point, Lisa, where we won't need the masks at all. That would be great if that would happen at some point this winter or this year. But right now, we're committed to it. But for children who may have difficulty, they will be exempted from it with the proper documentation, no doubt.
Okay, I'm asking it because I know the majority of elementary school students, I'm sure, are going to have some level of distraction from the mask while in-person learning is going on. So I feel like that's my
Sure.
concern, as well as the majority of parents, while they're sitting at their desk, if they're able to be socially distant, that's our concern of being distracted. And I feel like this is a lot of parents that are pretty much, this is a make or break situation with sending our kids to school, because they just don't feel like this is going to be a good learning environment if they have to wear these masks while the teacher's trying to give instruction.
Now, I can understand, folks thinking that way, no doubt about it. We're hoping that we're going to make the learning environment with the masks, as well as we start the year, something that's going to be enjoyable. But, that's going to be a wait and see scenario, but we're hoping we're going to be okay with it. The bottom line is we want to be safe, and we believe that this is the safest way to start our school with kids coming back together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Lisa, thank you. You take care, okay? And thanks for the questions.
Sure.
I think we see Deb next online. Come on in, Deb.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Just a quick question. I hadn't heard it mentioned yet. Do you plan on, is there any plans for high school sports like cross country that can be socially distanced at all this year?
Well, we're on a holding pattern from the county at this point on all interscholastic sports till at least the 21st of September. So they will watch things on how we progress up into that date, and then we take our lead from Section 11 on what will happen with our sports. So we're on hold right now, Deb, until the 21st of September. We're hoping that there'll be conversations if things get really good this year that maybe seasons will be postponed or rearranged, but we won't know until we get closer to that date.
Okay, great. And just one more quick question. You said that there is going to be some kind of orientation for the junior high school?
There will be orientation for the incoming 7th graders at our junior high school, yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you all of you for all of your hard work.
Yeah, you bet. You stay in touch with us, okay?
Absolutely, thanks.
You bet. I see Kim up next. Come on in, Kim. Feels like a game. I feel like a game show. Come on down.
Hi, good evening, rather.
Good evening. How are you?
I had a few questions. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Good, thank you.
I did ask this question to the special education department, and I was told that it's out of their realm. But I understand that the ELL students are getting 5-day in-person schooling. Is ICT special education students getting the same consideration based on the number of distance learning at home?
Good question.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
So Ls are not coming in 5 days a week, and only specific students with, in terms of the recommendation of New York State Education Department, we are expected to provide certain instruction to Ls that meet the criteria in which they have stated. So that's, but so it's not
Okay.
all, it's not all.
Okay, but it still goes to, will ICT students with a IEP be considered for in-person other 2 days for students who may opt out of in-person learning?
Right now, we are dealing with the social distancing constraints, and we are looking at the most needy students to address them with more time in class.
Is there a deadline to find out when they may qualify for more in-person learning?
Well, this is an ongoing process. So right now we will start the school year in this hybrid model with the 2 cohorts and distance learning. And we have some parents opting for distance learning 5 days. And again, this is evolving, and the goal is that hopefully this pandemic will somehow find its way to be having a vaccine or something, and that we can bring all students back full time, because there is nothing more that we would want than to have everyone back. At this time, we need to meet the constraints, through the guidance from the CDC and DOH and New York State. So we are bound to much of what their mandates are on us.
Okay, and then I understand that there's an attendance policy even for the virtual days. I am a single mother. I need to work. How my children will be able to do their schoolwork when I get home? So how is the attendance policy going to affect that?
Good question. So we are looking at that. We are working again with our teachers. We are very well aware of parents needing to go to work and may not be there during the day when students are looking to log on. So all that, again, it's a work in progress. We are talking to our teachers. We're trying to create a system that is as fair and equitable as possible, so that your child, since they will do the work afterwards, is not penalized for attendance on that.
Yeah,
Okay, and then
attendance is required for us, so we have to work that out because we are committed to the fact that, and we are required to be sure that we're taking accurate attendance of our students. So we're hoping that maybe we can monopolize on our technology for that piece as well. So stay tuned on that one.
okay, and I was told that ICT teachers would stay in live contact with students. Again, how does that happen when the child will be with a provider during school hours?
Well, if the provider has technology and your child has technology, I'm sure that our teachers have done a phenomenal job over the spring. I'm sure they've stayed in communication with their students. I know they have, and we will continue to work together, because our purpose here is to support our students and give them the best instruction possible, education possible.
Okay, my next question is, I have 2 students in the elementary school. My daughter is entering 1st grade. She does not understand what social distance means, no matter how many times I've explained it over the past 6 months. On the school bus, how do you expect 22 children to be socially distanced and listen to one bus driver who has to keep his eyes on the road?
Mr.
Ryan.
Well, we're going to be talking to the children every day when we pull up at the school. We always sit and we have a few minutes to talk to the children. We're going to reinforce that continually every day to talk about the importance of social distancing.
And will the bus driver have hand sanitizer for the children that are getting on the bus before sitting down?
SED guidelines do not allow us to have sanitizer on the bus, unfortunately.
Okay, and then as far as temperature checks,
We're going to give you one more question because we got a lot of people waiting, okay? So, and the questions that you're asking now, that's okay. And the questions that you're asking now, those are the exact example of how your principal can help you out prior to the beginning of the school year once they start communicating with you over the next couple of weeks. So if you have a couple more that are like this tonight, you're going to get those answered. But go ahead, you have one more to go.
All right, my final question is, with the temperature checks, are they being done directly off the school bus? So they're not coming into contact with other students?
Our goal is to be sure that we can do this before the children enter the building. So more than likely, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you stay in touch with us because I know you have other questions, particular to your family, and we want to be able to answer those at the building level. Okay, Deb?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Siobhan, you there? How are you?
Hi.
Hey, listen, before you ask your question, I just want everybody to know, because some people may not know what ELL mean, or L children. And ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about there is English limited proficiency students. So that's when we were talking about ELL students before. That's the population of students that we serve here at Longwood. So if you hear that acronym, that's what that is. I'm sorry, go right ahead, Siobhan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, I have a few questions. So if you choose the hybrid model and then you decide to switch to full distance learning, is that a possibility?
Yeah, that question we have answered a while ago, but I'm glad you're answering it again for anybody else here tonight that's going to ask that question. We do have the opportunity of starting in the hybrid program. I think that's what you're asking, and switching over to distance learning at some point. But we would ask that parents have conversations with their teacher, children's teacher, and their building principal before they make that decision.
Also, you said that some of the buildings have AC and filtration systems. Which buildings are they?
Mr. Harding?
Middle school is almost a fully contained central air conditioning systems there. And the rest of the buildings are really, it's hit and miss, and some rooms have it and some don't. Most don't.
So my son goes to Ridge Elementary School. What is the AC and filtration system at that school?
Which building is he in? What grade?
First grade.
First grade. So he's in the PC building. So there are some classrooms that have air conditioning in them, and some have univentilators. So it would have to be, I would have to know which room he was in to give you the exact answer. But he's either in a room with a univentilator, which brings in fresh air, which exchanges that fresh air through that classroom at least 4 times an hour. If he's in an air-conditioned room, well, that's different, because it usually has economizers on it, which also brings in fresh air. Or if it's a hot day, then the air conditioning works.
Mr. Harding, could you just tell the community why some classrooms in that building would have air conditioning and why others would not?
Yes, and when those buildings were built back in the 60s, they didn't have any boilers in them. So those units, those rooftop units, is what gave them both air conditioning and heating. And then as the buildings were added on in 98 and 2000, those additions put onto the building came off the heating system, so univentilators were put into the rooms. That's why most of them have rooms with just univentilators, and the other rooms were, because that's what's designed the building back in the 60s when it was built.
Sorry, Siobhan, go right ahead.
So your reopening plan says that recess will be permitted for students, but they need to maintain social distancing. How are the elementary school kids going to learn to socialize and, form friendships and things like that when we're telling them not to go near other kids?
Yeah, I think the communication process is still there. I mean, we're certainly not having our children not speak to each other, not look at each other, not communicate within 6 feet of each other. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. It's not what we're used to, where our kids get really close to one another, either during recess or at other times. But I do believe that we can still foster a good, caring, supportive relationship amongst them and them with us. So that's our goal for this year.
Also, you guys said that there was going to be live instruction for the younger kids with their teachers, but you guys haven't figured out a plan yet. And you guys say within the upcoming weeks, but
yes.
School is less than 3 weeks away. So
yes.
When exactly are you guys coming up with the plan and implementing it and letting the parents actually know what's going on?
You'll have a lot more information on that by this time next week, for sure.
So your deadline is next week?
You'll have a lot more information next week, for sure, a week from today. That's correct.
So by this time next week, I will have an idea of what the classroom is going to look like, what the live instruction is going to be like when he's distance learning 3 days.
Yes, that's correct. And you'll get that information from your building principal as they begin to communicate with their parents about what school is going to look like in their buildings for this school year. That is correct. The reason why that has been not held up, but we value here, you know, there are, if you look at some of the other school districts on the island, they have administration and board of eds that say, we just tell our teachers what to do. That doesn't work too well here, and we don't like doing that. Yet our teachers haven't been here all summer, and it's only been within the past 10 days through next week that we have invited them in to help us and make their recommendations on the good things that they found that did work last year during the distance learning piece. So we value that, and we really appreciate everybody's patience on it, but I wasn't going to do this without the talent of our teachers weighing in on what that distance learning program should look like.
And you said that there were going to be mask breaks, but you never said how many were going to be during the day.
Yeah, not that would not be determined at this point. That's determined in the building. Those would be questions again that you would have for your principal and for the teachers there. Our plan calls for mask breaks all the way K through 12. How that will be determined will be determined on the building level.
Okay.
We're good?
I guess,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't sound like you guys are providing definitive answers. We're gonna get back to you pretty much. And
Well, we
you're-
do have some time left. We want to do this correctly. And as I said to one dad last night, we could sit here and say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do. But then I'd be lying. And I don't like to do that. And we like to be informed, and we certainly like to weigh in with the people who work really hard for us on a daily and a yearly basis. And we're going to be there. You're going to have the information. You're going to feel good about it. And we're going to get there. Longwood is going to get there. We appreciate your patience and your questions tonight.
All right.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Stay in touch with us, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, who's up next? Is that a Jen? Jen. Hello, Jen, you there?
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, how was your summer?
So far, so well.
All right, everybody's well?
Yes, nice
Good.
and healthy. So I've got two questions for you.
Okay.
Last night, another mother asked about kids who are sick at school. Would they be required to get a COVID test before they return? And you had said that working with the Department of Health right now will not be testing, and to seek out your personal family physician. If a child is sent home from school sick because they have a fever, they ate their lunch too fast and they threw it up, you know, our kids are elementary age, will they need a note from their doctor to return back to in-person school?
Super question. So just like the mom, you know, before asks, hey guys, you know, why don't we know exactly what's happening right now? So, you know, here it is right here. But this just came to me this afternoon at 5 o'clock, which is an updated document from the Department of Health here in Suffolk with clarification on that protocol. So we got that, and I'm going to ask Dr. Denton to give it to you.
Okay, so the piece, and I guess the updated piece here, you know, so we have throughout the year, you can expect students to be, what you just mentioned before, students to be ill for different reasons, right? And all of them may not necessarily relate to COVID, but I think what we've been saying to keep everyone safe, the recommendation we've been making in line with what the Department of Health is suggesting here, is for all us to be safe, is just to get the medical provider just to take a look and then say to us that everything is okay for your child to return. The plan is not to keep anyone away, but the plan is to make sure that everyone is safe, you know, and informed on entering the school building. So that's the plan at this point.
We will side on the safety piece here, you know, so that may cause a little bit trepidation, but if somebody becomes ill and there's a day or two that we're not sure about what that's all about, we got to let everybody know the potential is there. We wouldn't do that in the past, right? We wouldn't, if your child came in with a temperature and God forbid you came in, picked her up, brought her home, she had strep throat for the next 3 days, the doctor says she can go back on Monday, you'd let us know, you'd let our nurses know, and we'd be good. Now when that happens, we're so hyper vigilant that we need to be able to communicate the possibility of until there is a definite case, and we're hoping that's not going to happen. Go ahead.
Okay. And just one more question. I had heard through other parents that this year the teachers, our daughter goes to quorum and there's air conditioning in the rooms, that they would not be able to turn their fans on this year, especially in the start of September. Is that true?
Yeah, we're having some difficulty, you know, with that because of the potential transmission of something not healthy in the room. So right now, fans are not something that we can use other than what's available in the ventilation in each one of those classrooms.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Is that it? Anything else?
That's it for now.
Okay, stay in touch and you'll hear more from Mr. Knott and the folks at Quorum for your children there as well, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we have Janine?
Janine.
Janine.
Jamie.
Jamie, I'm sorry.
Hello,
Hi, how
can
are
you
you?
hear me?
Yeah,
Good.
loud and clear.
So I have a few questions. So you had mentioned that the students will have their temperature taken before they have contact with the building. Why are they not having their temperature taken before they get on or as they're getting on the bus? Because they are being in contact with the other 20 students on the bus.
So let's back it up a little bit. What we're doing by taking students' temperatures before they get into the school building or on the bus or before the bus is really second to what we need from our parents, right? Because we know that the state has, recommended that mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, who is ever home with their children, monitor their temperatures before they even walk out of their house in the morning to get to that school bus. So we're relying very heavily that we're going to get that cooperation. And quite frankly, that's all we would have to do under the SCB regs. But there may be some families that need our help to be able to do that before a child walks into the building. So I don't know if there's any guidance, Mr. Ryan, from New York in transportation prior to getting on the bus. If there is, can you comment about that?
The concern would just be if we pull up at a bus stop and there's not a parent there. We can't refuse a child. We don't know if they can go back into their home, if their parent has already gone to work. So that's certainly a concern of a bigger issue that we don't want to go down.
So that's why doing that before getting on the bus is a little bit of a conflict for us.
Okay, understood. You had mentioned that in the high school, they had removed the cafeteria tables and put desks in there for the students to eat. And I know that you're not cleaning the desks in the regular academic classrooms in between periods, but will you be cleaning the desks in the cafeteria between use?
Without a doubt. That's the responsibility of our cafeteria workers, yes.
Okay, because that's a high transfer area, so I just wanted to make sure.
Without a doubt.
Okay. Also, can you explain a little bit about how physical education will work at the high school? I know that they change, they're in the locker room, things like that. Will they be doing those things?
So in speaking with the director of athletics and PE and health, no, lockers will not be used. They will not be changing. You cannot do that. So I know a question similar to yours was asked yesterday. I was not sure, so I verified today. They are not changing. They're asking students to come the day of phys ed to be prepared to do activities. But they will not be changing. They will not be using their lockers.
Okay. So will they be bringing their books and personal items with them when they go out to phys ed, or?
So if, Jamie, if I could just, you got great questions, okay? But these are questions that are really, because if we continue this way this evening, because it's already 20 minutes to 8, and the questions that you are asking are good questions. They may not necessarily be a part of our plan, but they definitely are procedures that would happen at the high school.
Okay,
so as
so
Mr. Schuster and the staff reach out to you, that's the time for those questions. And I am going to anticipate that he's going to give you those answers before you even ask them over the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so I'll ask that of Mr. Schuster. So I have one more question. You keep referring to collaborating with teachers. Can you tell me what type of training was done with the teachers to prepare them for this hybrid model, for the start of the school year that's approaching so quickly?
So you probably know that I did send out an email to the staff requesting for participants for the task force, the re-envisioning of instruction and learning task force. We are meeting tomorrow. Our teachers, as you know, are very creative and talented. They've already had experience over the spring in doing the job. And so we are looking to further that. We've had committees, of parents and teachers over the summer. And we are starting to meet with our teachers, this group that has shown interest in participating. And they will be working this weekend and the beginning of next, so that we can come up with a detailed understanding of what the hybrid and distance learning will look like.
And that was all the foundation from the work that my good friend Dr. Denton did with many of our teachers. I don't know if you were involved with that, Jamie, or not, starting back in April as the foundation for what has occurred during the summer and in preparation for the hybrid model NDL. So lots to do, though. We'll have lots to do. Our teachers will be back for an additional day, as you know, and Superintendent's Conference Day. And all those days are going to be drilled down with the hybrid model and with DL as we get closer. So lots to do, lots to do.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Can I just, before we get to the next person? So ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, there's a lot of folks that want to ask a particular question. And it's 20 minutes to 8 now. So if possible, if everybody, we're going to try to go through this and get at least one question per family, if you can do that. And certainly if your questions pertain to very specific items that have to do with your child's building, that's going to come to you in the near future. So let's continue. And maybe if everybody could just do one question, we can really get through this and try to get as many people on as possible this evening. So up next, can't read that name. Galaxy. Well, that's the device.
Unmute. Hi. No, my name is Debbie. I'm a grandma of a student that goes to elementary school.
Well, we love grandparents, so good for you.
And I'm also a retired special ed teacher from Sachem.
Super.
My little guy is going into 2nd grade, and he was supposed to be tested in the spring. I don't know if his mom signed the papers or not. I don't know if she ever got them because of COVID. But my concern is, I know that they were looking at an ICT class for him possibly for September, when, before COVID. What is going to happen now? He needs to be tested. How soon will that happen? I know Sachem did testing over the summer for children, like initials. I don't know if you did, but what will it look like for kids like him that I feel like are going to be lost, through the crack?
Okay, so we don't want you to be lost or to fall through the cracks at all. If you would please reach out, and you can do this as early as tomorrow, to Mrs. Jennifer McCarthy, who is the director of our special education program. She's watching right now, and if you reach out to her, these are specific questions related to your grandchild, and I know she'll be able to answer that and make it comfortable for you to start the school year.
Okay.
Jennifer McCarthy. Okay. Then
Okay. Thank you.
take your time. Anything else? We love grandparents on here.
No, I'm just, worried because I feel like
Yes.
so many months went
Yes.
by, and now I think his mom has chosen for him to do full remote learning, which concerns me.
Okay.
So I'm very worried that it's just going to be lost time
Okay.
for him.
I promise you, you promise me good communication, and when you need something and you have questions, that we'll be there to answer them the best we can. Okay, so let's do that going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Aiden, you're up next, my friend. I used Aiden.
Can
I
you-
was reading his name last night better. Aideen. Aideen? Hello, Aideen. Is that you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Gotcha now.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Aideen.
Hello, Aideen.
It's actually Aideen, but I am new to Longwood. We're coming from Sachem.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I guess most of my questions were answered with other parents' questions prior to me, and I did watch the video from yesterday.
Thank you.
My question is, I don't know how, I'm assuming that the school districts, there's not going to be too much difference as far as how the school day normally goes. or our concern with Sachem was that I have a second grader now. She was in first grade. A lot of the assignments that were given required like for you to print stuff. I don't know how that's going to work. Like, are the assignments, you know, have you guys figured out yet what the assignments are going to look like and how much, you know, like I'm working from home. So my employer, it's very good. They will work with me and the school schedule, but like I have to give them advance notice. I can't just say, okay, this is what's going to happen and this is how
Yep.
they're handling it. But you did say that will be all finalized or
Yes.
somewhat finalized by next Tuesday.
Yes, yes. But this time next week, we'll have a much better and a clearer description of what the distance learning program will be like. But as we've been saying for a while, that our goal for this year with distance learning, whether it's the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or the full distance learning if a family chooses that, is to have a significant more contact between students and teachers than possibly what you experienced in your previous school district where packets were distributed and children needed to work on their own. So we will still have that to a certain degree, but our goal is to be sure that our students and our teachers communicate on a daily basis with one another.
Okay. All right. Yeah. My biggest concern was just that because I do have
Sure.
to coordinate with my employer.
Yes.
You know, what are my schedules going to look like, what my involvement will be throughout
Right.
the day for my
Sure.
child.
Yep.
If I have to sign them into the laptops, if I have to, you know,
Yes.
get them set up for the day.
Big concerns. Those are big
yeah.
concerns. Those are very real concerns for you. Yes. Yep.
Okay, that was it. Like I said, most of the questions were answered because most of the parents already asked the questions.
Okay, great. Listen, welcome to Longwood. Please
Thank
stay
you.
involved with us. And, you know, for other information that you're going to need as a new family, we're here for you. So please reach out when you need to, okay?
I honestly don't even know what school they're going to be going to because I literally just got their registration, the email that they're registered last week.
Okay, we're going to help you with that right now.
Right, so if you go online, there's a link you will see on our main page for central registration. You'll find a number there that you can contact our central registration person, or you can email them anytime as well. And they'll give you some advice on where your child will be attending school according to your address, okay?
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good evening.
Welcome again. We'll see you soon. I see Elizabeth next. Hello, Elizabeth.
Good evening. I don't even know what time of day it is.
I know, we know that feeling.
So this has kind of been addressed, but not, I don't think I have a full answer yet. I understand that New York issues guidances at the very last minute. As obvious, you just presented a list of guidances that they presented to you later today, or earlier today.
Yeah.
And I was made aware of this. I had to deal with it with summer camp. We didn't know till the very last minute what was going on. So I understand the restrictions that the state is putting on you and your inability to really tell us what's going on because of it. However, the district did gather a group to plan for 3 possible eventualities: the full remote, the hybrid, and the full in-person.
Okay.
Why then, knowing that at least 2 of these scenarios involved remote learning, was there not some sort of task force created earlier in the summer to develop plans for remote learning?
So that was a part of the task force job that started in April. And that went through right to the end of the school year where we had our faculty. Faculty made great contributions to that task force for the foundation of distance learning. But unfortunately, we don't have our staff with us for 12 months, right? Our teachers are not here during the summer. And as I had mentioned before, some school districts took the position of, we're just going to do this because parents want to know before school starts what their distance learning program is going to be like. So we're just going to tell our teachers, this is the way it's going to be. We didn't choose to go that direction. And
but if the teachers had an input in the previous task force, then you have an idea of what they think will work. I mean, you've got, Longwood is a district of many working families, and I think very few families have the ability to have a parent stay home with the kids. So we all need to know, how are we planning for care for our children while we have to go to work? And that it doesn't feel like there's enough notice for us to try and assemble and ask and beg and find places to send our kids.
Understood. We're getting there. So well, I guess what I hear you saying is you're choosing the 5-day distance learning for your children.
No, I have to send my kids to school.
Okay.
I'm not a teacher.
Okay.
I'm not good at it. I need to send them into a teacher
I got you. Thank you
as
for that.
often as I
Okay.
can.
Okay. Stick with us. Stick with us. It'll be much more clear, I promise you, before the school year starts. Just stick with us. We want this to be a good program. We don't want what some other school districts have done, and that is throw paperwork at our kids, get it done, and then we'll talk. We don't want to do that. We want to try to do this correctly. And the other piece that's hanging over our head is that if this pandemic increases again, and that we have to go 100% distance learning, we want to do it correctly. So we understand that patience is running thin. Believe me, we do. But we want to do this correctly, and we believe we will. And it will be done correctly before the start of the school year. Promise you that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Is that Amy? Hello, Amy, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing okay. How are you doing tonight?
I'm hanging in there, a little frustrated, I'm sure, with everyone, the unknown and the
Yes.
anticipation of the school year.
Yes, for sure, Amy. What's your question?
My question, what was that?
Yeah, what was your question? Go ahead.
My question, I have a daughter, and I don't know if this is really for the building or, but I have a daughter in, she'll be in West in an ICT class, and she gets lots of services, PT, OT, speech. My question to you is, are they going to try and jam all of those services into those 2 days? Or because, PT and OT, you can't do remotely. They tried, it's just impossible. So my question is, how are they going to go about doing that?
So I'm sure you'll speak to Ms. Chancellor about what the plan is there, and our Director of Special Education will also be involved in that specific. So I can't give you specifics as to what it's going to look like, but yes, we are aware that we have students with many services, and we are looking to balance that out in their schedule.
And will the services be, if they need to be provided remotely, it's not going to be, because she just had stuff sent to her, and her PT teacher, I didn't even really hear from at all.
So that was just, I think we've learned a lot from the spring experience. So again, I can't give you specifics. I think you're best making sure to speak with the principal, Ms. Chancellor, and other questions would be the Director of Special Education, Ms. McCarthy, who will look at those services and make sure they balance them out.
And Amy, more than likely, if you were to have that conversation after this meeting tonight, towards the end of this week, you'll get a lot of those answers from your building principal and from special education specific to your child's needs.
Yeah, I've spoken to special ed. Nobody really has direct answers. That's, I think, where I think everyone is getting frustrated because,
Sure.
Of the unknown, and
Exactly.
it's frustrating.
I wish that we could say, here's the answer to every single question that we're getting in this new world.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting there, but we certainly don't have them all. And if I said we did, I'd be lying, and I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and if the teachers though deem that she needs the more than 2 days, the only way to get her the 5 days would go to self-contained.
I don't know if that would be an option, or that's a really specific question for our Committee on Special Ed.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. Stay in touch with us, okay? We have the Perez family up next.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you, and yourself.
We're
My
doing fine.
first question, I guess, does pertain more to the high school, but I just wanted to kind of put it out there. I have a child who's taking 3 AP classes in the fall, specifically more towards the biology. How are labs and the curriculum going to be completed with 2 days on-site, 3 days off-site, with the rigor of AP courses?
So the high school, like every other building, will have a set schedule, like if they were coming in every day. And during their days in distance learning, that teacher still is going to make that personal connection with the students. I will say that having been the principal of the high school, our teachers are very committed to our students. They will reach out, they will meet with them. And in terms of labs, so the 2 days the students come in, you will have a schedule. They will be meeting for labs. And labs can be done both hands-on when they're in and as well as simulated when they're out.
So the assumption would be that they would probably have at least their labs on the 2 days that they're in.
Most likely, yep.
And there was also a message about the orientation. All high school students are receiving a Chromebook this year. Is that correct?
You want to take that?
No, the high school, with the one-to-one initiative, we're looking at the 9th grade students currently. That's where we're starting the process for them.
Last year's 9th grade, which are now 10th.
That's what I have, an incoming 9th grader.
Right, so the 9th graders would satisfy that.
Okay, perfect.
You know, we have a great plan for the one-on-one initiative. Our plan dates back 5 years ago, that we should have had every one of our students in hand with a Chromebook. And we waited 5 years while New York State dragged their feet in the funding process and the approval process for it. But we're getting there with our 5th grade and 9th grade for this year. So
that'll be a welcome addition.
Without a doubt.
And my last question is just in general. How do we monitor mask cleanliness? I mean, I know just going out in public, I see people who look like they've been wearing the same mask since March. Is that something that's going to be addressed, or?
We'll try to do that the best we can. We're going to rely a lot of that on our parents and the provision for that. But we also have stock of masks as well. And certainly we'll be able to distribute them when we see need fit or ask for, without a doubt.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, you take care. We'll see you soon, okay? Good luck this year.
Thank you so much. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. I see Kelly's up next. Hello, Kelly.
Hi,
How are you tonight?
I'm good. I have a question. As far as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when they're not in school, I have to work full-time, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Does Longwood offer a program for the kids to go to during those hours of no school? Or parents just have to try and figure out? Because I can't pay $1,800 a month for 2 kids to go to childcare for 3 days.
We understand the sacrifices. We do. We knew that we were in this as we saw the year approaching, and we know that this is huge and very difficult for a lot of our families. We do have, at this point in time, the only childcare during the day until we're told that we don't need to do that is for parents who are essential workers for their children. But before and after care program, all 5 days a week will continue. So we understand that. We know this is going to be tough. And I wish I could say to you, we have the child care for you, all taken care of, but it's just not available in that regard.
So I'm also an essential worker, and I didn't have to use it all summer long because my mother was able to watch my children. Come September, she's going back to work. So am I able to do the essential worker?
If you're employed as an essential worker, and as long as we're told the program needs to continue, it sounds to me that you would qualify.
Okay, so do I have to call? Who do I call to speak to about that?
Right, so you would reach out to Right at School because they run the program. But like Dr. Lonigan said before, Right at School is the name of
Okay.
the group, right? So you would need to reach out to them, but I think it's important to what Dr. Lonigan said before. There's an executive order that was put in place for us to provide that to our families. We're not sure what's going to happen with that executive order, if it's going to end at the end of August. So we may be able to continue it, or we may not, depending on what the governor's executive order, the update that we received from him. So we could tell you right now, sure, it's going to happen, but he could say tomorrow, hey, it's not going to happen, and then we won't have that for our families. But what we do have, we will have the morning and afternoon program through Right at School as well. So just to give you some feedback. So you may call them tomorrow and they may tell you, listen, we're not sure. So I don't want you to get frustrated with that. The reason why is because we're still waiting for guidance from the governor as well, as far as the extension on that.
Okay, now also my children both were getting pulled from classes for extra help with reading, and since the distance learning, there was no extra help. And my daughter's middle school teachers were not involved at all. So teachers are going to be way more involved this time?
That is correct. That is our plan. That's why we're bringing our children back in the hybrid model, and the ability for our teachers to be on site here in school Monday through Friday. Extra help is available. We're hoping to see a 180 difference in regard to our relationships between the kids and the teachers. That's our goal, yes.
Including academic intervention support.
And the required academic intervention support for our students that are supposed to get that will be getting that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You take care.
You too.
Folks, it's 8 p.m. now. We have an hour to go during this chat. And so we'd appreciate it, please, if you've had your questions answered, maybe give out other folks who are on the list here the opportunity to ask their question. I'm going to ask you, please, one very important question for the next hour so we can get as many people in as possible, okay? So next is Christine. Are you there?
Yes, hi, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Good evening.
No apology necessary. Good evening.
Okay, so my question is, I mean, I have my son in the high school, but has each school looked at the students who are going to be coming into the hybrid to determine if your opening plan of, say, A through L is Monday and Tuesday and M through Z is Thursday and Friday to know? Because what if 50% of that 70% coming is all A through L? You know what I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly,
Yeah.
So that it's an even amount.
You are. Yeah, we have looked at the balance, Dr.
Right.
Castro.
The schools have looked at the balance, and it seems to work out well. And then, so that's how the classes are being.
Okay, so each school is going to stick to that that alphabet A through L or A through K and
Yes,
L through Z.
yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Yeah.
And I just have one last quick question. If my son brings his own sanitizing wipe or Lysol, can he wipe down his own desks? Are we allowed to do that?
Steve, what's the guidance on that for chemicals being brought into the building?
Yeah, they don't really, they prefer you not to. You know, you sanitize for his own hands, that'd be fine, but as far as the desk, they need an MSDS sheet for anything that is used in the school.
Okay, so he wouldn't be able to bring like his own Lysol wipes to wipe his desk down, right?
We prefer not to, you know, I mean, we don't know what those wipes are. I'm sure that you're getting them just like everybody else, but you know, when we're dealing with lots of kids and lots of staff and different allergies and different, we just get a little concerned when it's not things that we use on a daily basis that we know work.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Are you guys planning on putting sanitizing stations in the hallways or anything like stores are doing?
They'll be in the classrooms. We prefer not to put them in the hallways because kids can run into them and, you know, they'll spill on the floor and stuff like that. But they'll be in every classroom that needs them, you know, if they don't have a sink with soap and water in it.
Oh, okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good questions. You take care. If you need us, you know where we are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Help me with it. Is that Kristen? Kristen. Mrs. R, is that you? I know you. Hello.
Who, me?
There she
Hi.
is. How's the family?
We're very good. Thank you so much.
Good,
Hope everybody is well there.
Everybody's
First of all, I want to
well.
say thank you guys. I know that you're working so hard, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. I have friends and siblings and so forth in other school districts, and I give Longwood a lot of credit. You guys put forth a lot of information. I know this isn't hard. This is hard for everybody, so I just
Yeah,
wanted to
thanks,
thank
Chris.
you. Before.
We appreciate that. Can't do it without people like you, that's for sure.
Oh, well, yeah, but that was actually my question. So, I know it's a loaded question, but will there be any after school or PTA events? We are kind of banging our heads together here as our PTA, and we're not sure what the guidelines are for after school or in school events where there's outside companies such as
We want to hold as much as we can. I mean, our students will be involved after school virtually when possible, but that is being offered. As superintendent, I gotta have you guys. I have to have the PTA involved. It may be more virtually for a while until this thing opens up. Hopefully it is. But I'm counting on you to be participating day one as we start the school year, one way or the other.
We didn't really, because we touched base with the school this week, and we asked, and she told us absolutely no after school, but then was unsure. So, like I said, we're kind of up in the air, and sure, we're trying to be flavorful in the way we do things and different, and but we were wondering if there was going to be any allowed in body, like such as a kindergarten event outside, since they're not doing their orientation or something like that. Are we allowed to do any of those things?
Yeah, Chris, to start the year, probably not, but the PTA meetings in your organization, we need you to continue to do that. But as we said last night, we have to start the year as safely as possible to see what this is going to be like. So after evening activities and building use that way, we can't do for the beginning of the year. But that is looked upon. Who's that little guy? Which one is this?
This is Josh, my baby.
Josh, how you doing, big guy?
Hi.
But we will be looking at all the procedures for afternoon, evening use on a weekly basis going forward. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we can start to bring some folks back as things start to come around for us.
And that's the same with the in-school events, such as like a picture company coming in and so.
Yeah, Christine, yes, same thing. Yeah. Right now, the only people we want in our buildings, and I hate to say this,
it's
parents,
it's whatever.
is our staff and our children, and it has to be that way so we can wipe this thing out and get back to normal.
Of course. And then, so that would be the same idea with sports, because I know you had mentioned before that you, the spring season may get pushed. However, the fall season may get pushed. However, practices and stuff are
we heard that as a possibility, yeah.
Okay, but we do know that practices and such are on for some of the travel sports. So are there any plans on opening any of the school fields for practice or things?
We have to take a look at that as the school year begins. Yeah.
Okay.
And we've opened the facilities a little bit, but now when we start thinking about large groups, and it gets really scary. So we're going to take that week by week.
Yeah, because we know a lot of your students are already practicing outside of the facility, like they're renting space and so on.
Sure. Yeah.
I just was curious as to when that would be.
We're still under the rules of a certain amount of folks on the property at once. So that may be difficult for teams to be there, but this is tough. This is tough stuff.
Okay. No, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Okay. Stay in touch.
Good luck with everything, and I will. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, we have Dawn up next. Hello, Dawn. You're waiting in the green room. Hello, Dawn. I know you're there.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Welcome.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My question was about heat alerts. I know usually students are not allowed to go outside and play and do certain sporting activities and things like that when there's heat alerts.
Okay.
Is the school going to have to shut down in the event of heat alerts due to mask wearing?
The guidance that we've been told is that the mask wearing really doesn't mitigate even on warm days. That there may be additional mask breaks taken. That would make a lot of sense to me. But we would conduct heat advisories or closing of a school or whatever the way we always would. So we would follow the same exact procedures and the same.
Right. Okay. So even in like the high school and stuff where there's no AC and no fans and things like that, they would still be wearing their masks in the event of a heat alert.
They would. with
Okay.
the consideration of mask breaks that we can do.
Right.
And doing it as much as we can to keep the kids safe, for sure. Let's
Okay.
hope that we get a decent fall. We had a good fall last year. It wasn't that
They're
bad.
not usually known to be cool, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
well, they're not the winter time, that's for sure. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, my other question for you is that Chromebooks. I know that 5th grade and 9th graders are getting Chromebooks, and my own children have their own Chromebooks.
Okay.
So it's not an issue of getting one, but I know that the teachers are wearing a lot of hats this year, and they're going to be asked to do, the students I feel like are going to be asked to do more on the Chromebooks even during school hours when they're in school for the hybrid model. My question is, if they're using their own Chromebooks and they're not district given, can they get on the Longwood Wi-Fi if they bring them to school?
Good question. Doctor, we got that?
That's a great question, and I mean, we do have the capability as a district to do that. We do have a guest Wi-Fi, and we have an internal Wi-Fi for our district-owned devices. So we do have the capability to do that. I guess at some point we will drill down and make a decision as far as that process, as far as students bringing things in. But at this point, we do have the capability. Our system can do that.
I'd be optimistic about that. And that
Yeah, no, because I just worry that the teachers are going to start teaching using
Yes.
more of the Chromebook even during class time.
Yeah.
And my children don't, well, my one that's going into 9th grade won't have an issue, but my 6th grader will have an issue because his Chromebook is privately owned. So to bring it into class to work with it is going to be an issue then. You know, because I know I work in another local school district and they're not allowed to bring it in because of viruses and things like that. So I
Yeah, I think
didn't
we got
know
that
what.
part covered here, that's for sure.
Okay. All right. And I have one more quick thing. If a teacher is exposed to COVID in some way from other students or from their own home, things like that, does that mean that there's going to be a sub in the room for 2 weeks? If they're not exposed within the class for like my own child, like if my high schooler, if they're exposed in a different period, does that mean that they're working with us, they're coming in and expose, my child would be coming in to expose themselves 2 days a week to work with a sub, which doesn't really seem like quality education as far.
You're right. That's, I mean, we're hoping this is not going to happen a lot, but any one of our teachers at any time could be ill and out of work for a period of time. But your specific question with regard to COVID, if we were to have a staff member diagnosed with the virus, that kicks in a tremendous amount of protocol that we are required to follow by county. And yeah, that teacher would be out for at least 14 days, depending upon what would occur with them. And there would be a substitute in that class, yeah.
Okay, and you're prepared to have a number of subs within the building? Because I know in my school district, we can't get subs.
Yeah, well,
and I know
not easy for us either, you're absolutely correct.
I know in the middle school, my son has come home many, many times and said that the one teacher has to teach both classes at one time.
That has happened, yes, that has happened.
So that really concerns me because then you're talking about having no one in the class practically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We've been working hard probably for the past 5 years, long before COVID had hit and folks becoming ill, in really trying to boost that piece. But you're right.
Absolutely. I totally get it.
It's very hard to get, I mean, we
It's
send
very
people
hard.
out to get seniors in college who are finishing up, their degrees and be able to cultivate their interest in being a substitute. But it's not easy. It's not easy to get substitutes. So if you're out there, if you're out there and you can be a substitute, please call us. We'd love to talk with you.
No, I already have a full-time position.
Well, I mean, anybody else that's listening, yeah.
But,
maybe we can get you too.
But will those teachers, if they're quarantined but not ill, will they still be able to teach virtually?
That's a good question because they may have been exposed, but they may not be ill.
Right.
And they may have the opportunity to be able to remotely. So yeah, we're working on that piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
What's that? Abu? Hello. Could you pronounce your first name for us, please?
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
We see you, but we can't hear you. I'm sorry, we still can't hear you. We're checking our settings here, but everything looks green.
Hello?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's great. How are you?
I'm good. It's Abu, Abu.
Thank you, Abu.
Yes, hi. So my son, I guess you probably answered the question, but I just wanted to run it by. Three things. You don't need to register for the hybrid model, right? It's automatic if you don't do anything.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, and you, like, during the meeting, I was hearing that, like, principals of the school's building, my son goes to West Middle Island, the building will contact you. Will it be like in a personal email base, like how the principals will communicate? Is it like we have to initiate the communication, or they will send us like a package or something?
You're going to hear from them. We want to build on this mode of communication, both virtually and recorded announcements as well from our principals and directors. So yeah, they'll be reaching out with you on notification of when certain bits of information will be coming to you, joining them in meetings as well. So that's all going to happen over the next 2 weeks and into the school year as well. So lots of information coming even after the school year begins.
Okay, so it won't be like in a mail package or something. It will be a virtual communication through like via email or something. Like, how do we know?
Much of the time, yes, sir.
Okay, and my son has an IEP. I believe he's in a special class with the 12-1-1 settings. And I was going through the FAQ section and I saw that, like, they'll be coming in for 5 days. Is that the case?
Dr. Castro?
So I don't want to really speak to any specifics, especially for the privacy of your child. I think you should speak to Ms. Chancellor and the Director of Special Ed, but it sounds that yes, your child would be entitled to 5 days.
And I believe the virtual, if we decide, I mean, I know that's with the special ed, it's hard to do, but if we decide to do the full distance learning, we have it till 24th, right, to register?
Yeah, and we can be flexible with that because we know that people are logging on and watching daily and getting information and expecting information on the distance learning piece. So if parents have made their decision already, we're really looking for the bulk of them to answer by the 24th, but we have a little bit of flexibility going for the rest of the week too, especially when more information on what the exact program is going to look like is out there for folks. So we have a little bit of flexibility. If everybody's listening and you're like, I've made my mind up and my son or daughter will be on distance learning at least until the 29th of January, we'd appreciate getting those numbers and that feedback by the 24th, yes.
All right, thank you. Just one last question. I think you already answered because one of the parents asked it before. I guess if you go with the hybrid model, but you always have the option to go back to the online model anytime.
We would. We would recommend, highly recommend that, especially if it's being done for a while, that you communicate with your children's teachers and the building administration, just to be sure that this is the best mode for them as we started the school year. So good communication there is what we're recommending.
And the special education, I called because I went to the website of your Longwood, look for the special education number. And there was a 2 number. One was for the direct, like for Janine Village, and one for Jennifer McCarthy. I called the Janine Village number. I couldn't reach them, but like, should I call the Jennifer McCarthy number?
We have a change in the administration and special education, and Mrs. Jennifer McCarthy is your point of contact.
Okay, 3452173 is the number, right?
Thank you. Thanks for your questions tonight.
Thank you, bye.
Okay, bye-bye now. I see we have Danielle waiting in the wings. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing okay. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I'm going to try to power through. I know you guys have an agenda and I want to get you going.
Take your time.
So my question is, will the students that chose 100% distance learning be placed together with the other 100% students, like in the same class and the same teacher, dedicated for distance?
Got it.
So right now, the students will be placed in classes. Principals are looking right now to make sure that there's a balance in each class due to the social distancing that is required in those classes. So they're not, at this time, we are not looking at creating solely distance learning sections. But they will, your child, if they choose to be 100% 5 days distance learning, they will be with students who most likely would be going hybrid.
Okay, that makes sense. I understand. It helps, it keeps the hybrid kids safer
Great,
as well.
thanks.
My other, I'm trying, I know you said one. I'm cutting down a lot here, but the threshold of notification for families, if a child, let's say, presents COVID positive, will the school or just that student's class, or do you not have that figured out yet as far as the threshold of notification for if it's a staff member, let's say like support staff coming in to work on a computer, ended up positive but went into other classrooms, does the district get notified, just
Yeah.
the school?
Gotcha. So yeah, that we have, and that we've been told what has to happen. Anything that happens with a staff member or a child who is diagnosed or suspected of COVID, we have very special protocol that we must follow. And the Department of Health is promising us that if that were to happen, either by them notifying us of information that we wouldn't have or vice versa, that they work with us on a case-by-case basis, and the contact tracing would depend on a lot of different variables that have to do with that person and how they were contracted with the virus, who they were with, so on and so forth. So they take us down the funnel, given what they know about the family or the child or the staff member. We follow those protocols.
So it's a little bit of blind faith. It's not like, yes, one kid, the school finds out the end. It's more complicated. Got it.
At the same time, as we had mentioned earlier before, it would be easy for us to say that, well, if you have a temperature of 105, but you're not diagnosed with COVID, then maybe it's strep throat or maybe it's teeth, whatever. We're trying to stay very safe on this and notify folks in the event of any type of illness that way to the best of our ability under the guidance with the DOH. So we're trying to decide on the side of safety, that's for sure.
Thank you so much. I know real quick, any consideration for MERV 13, HEPA, or air scrubbers where those can't be put in? I know people talked about air conditioning. I'm interested in, filtering COVID particles.
We follow the guidelines that's required by the SED for the classrooms. So in those rooms, it's mostly about air exchange, and those units, whether they're univents or rooftop units, they're exchanging the fresh air into there at least 20%, and we're exchanging that air at least 4 times an hour.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, stay in touch with us, okay?
Thank you.
Is that Kendra? Hello, Kendra, how are you tonight? What's your question?
Hi, good. Thank you guys.
welcome.
So I wanted to know, do they bring their food to school? What kind of containers should we be looking at? Should everything be able to be thrown away?
Elementary or secondary students, Kendra?
Junior high and middle school.
Yeah. I think just our advice to you is that there really isn't anything extraordinary that you as a parent and how you would prepare the food for your children to come to school, follow that protocol. So nothing specific at all that we're required.
Just not sharing any of their food.
Well, certainly within school and during lunch, not the sharing of food in any way whatsoever. And unfortunately, but fortunately for the situation, all our kids need to be socially distanced when they're eating as well, K through 12.
And what about drop off and pickup? I'm not putting them on the bus this year. So what does that procedure look like, or will it be building by building decided?
Building by building, that's correct. And principals are making as much accommodation as possible given what we have as far as our real estate.
All right. Those were my questions. Everything else was answered. Thank you, guys.
Okay, you know where we are if you need anything else, okay?
Cool. Thanks.
You betcha. I see Deborah's up next. Deborah, what's your question? No two-part questions now, just one question. Hello, Deborah.
Can you hear me?
Ah, there you go.
I'm so used to just pressing unmute by myself.
I know, we got you.
Okay, so I actually sent you a couple of questions earlier in the day. and I'm not sure I really understand. Will there be different teachers doing the distance learning versus teaching the kids that are in school? Because my concern is, while it still may be considered live instruction for the kids at home, it would be difficult for a teacher to meet the needs of that student, at-home students, while teaching both simultaneously.
So our goal is to try as much as possible to keep our class together, and for our teachers and their class roster to be dealing with their children when they're in school, as well as when they're on distance learning. Can that happen all the time? It may not, but our goal is to really work hard to make that happen. Did I answer that correctly?
Correct.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, they will be doing a combination. Some of the students will be home doing the distance learning, and some of the students will be in the classroom with the one teacher.
You got it.
Okay, so there was something, I know that you guys said that for the distance learning at
Is this
least.
the second question, or is it still associated with your first question?
It's still all part of the first question.
Okay, go ahead.
There's small group instruction to provide targeted instruction for both remedial and enrichment activities. So my question is, will these smaller groups be a regular occurrence and take place weekly at a specified time, in addition to the whole class live instruction?
So I think the teachers will be working on a schedule. They will let you know when those students will be meeting. So if your child has a specific time, that will be part of the teacher's schedule they will let you know.
Okay. Do you have a helpline to assist with parents who may have difficulty with software or hardware related issues while they are home with the distance learning?
Yeah, so I know over the in March, I know our teachers and the committees, I know they put up a resource for parents online. So yeah, reaching out to the building, I think, is the most important thing, but we try as much as possible. If you look at our website, it's constantly being updated with resources for our parents as well. So I would say just, continue to look at our website and reach out to your building principal as much as possible as well for support.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I really, really do. I just have one more question and then I will sign off. I'm curious about whether or not there is a plan to address the mental and emotional needs of kids as it relates to school proactively, or whether it's going to be up to the parents to reach out and request a collaboration with that.
Right. So we started a process over the summer where we started a proactive approach, right? Where we reached out to our parents with the mental health component, where parents can call in, where we do have counselors over the summer willing to work with our families. So we started that process, I want to say in July, or early August. We started that process in support. And at this time, this is an ongoing discussion with us because we do value and know the importance of mental health, right? So we have been having that discussion with all of our principals, speaking with our mental health director on a frequent basis as far as some of the proactive things we'll be putting in place to start the school year. So at the beginning of the year, we're going to have our teachers, we're going to do PD, we're going to prepare even our teachers to identify certain signs and symptoms in our students as far as mental health is concerned. So the goal is to put that at the top because we value the mental health piece as much as we value the academic piece here in our district. So yes, that will be definitely of value to us, and we will definitely do that.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Deb. That was important.
Thank
Take
you.
good care. We'll see you soon, okay? Okay, we got Sarah up next. Hello, Sarah. Sarah Jean.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. So I know you said one question. I have one big one, and then I just need clarification on two quick things.
That's a
So
second
my
question. Go
my
ahead.
big question, I watched yesterday as well, and you emphasized emphatically multiple times about how important the hand washing will be.
Yeah.
So my question is that, especially for the elementary age students, going to be built into the schedule in like blocks, like when they come in from the bus, are they going to get to go to a sink and wash their hands? Right before lunch, are they going to wash their hands? Because those are specific times where it's going to be extremely important. And I want to make sure that it's not going to be like, okay, if you have a chance to do it, do it. I would rather it be like, okay, we're taking 10 minutes.
I got the answer for you. Yes. And more than that as well. We routinely do that with our children, even when there isn't a pandemic. But it'll be even more routine because we believe, and thank you for this, that this and the appropriate social distancing, hand washing, and good hygiene is going to be what's going to kill this. And we want to be a part of that. So yes, multiple times.
Okay. And in connection with that, will there be monitors in the bathroom to make sure that kids are washing after they go to the bathroom? Or is that just going to be, we hope the kids are doing it?
Will be in the bathroom.
They're right outside. the
Right,
bathroom.
so we have monitors who will supervise the outside area. Again, encouraging children, that's the biggest piece, encouraging them as much as possible. We plan on doing a lot of PD with our students prior to the beginning of the school year. We will have videos posted. So we ask for parents as well to support us on that. It's a new piece for all of us, but the support is going to be critical, and that's what we're looking forward to. So yes, they may not be in the bathroom, but we'll have a system in place where we remind students as much as possible. There'll be signs in the bathrooms as well, reminding students to wash after each use.
They're typically stationed just outside of the gang bathrooms and are earshot of hearing water running. So they typically, if you see them questioning the children when they walk out, I didn't hear that water. Did you wash your hands? So
That works for me. I just wanted to make sure there would be someone in the area at least monitoring it.
Yes,
and then I just need clarification on two quick things. One, how many masks should students bring per day?
I think that depends on the type of mask. I mean, many of our families are not using the disposal ones such as this, but the ones that can be laundered and given back to their children. So I think we're going to leave that up to mom and dad and knowing that their children and what's going to be best for them. Should they come to school, lose one, not be able to have one, we will have ones to give to them when they get here.
Okay, and then I know you said recess will be held outside, obviously weather permitting. Will the equipment be usable and wiped down periodically, or is it just like they're going to go outside and be kind of walking around the building, drawing with chalk, things like that?
Yeah, we haven't made the decision on the playgrounds yet, as they still remain closed throughout the district, but recess will be outside, and we'll be taking a look at to whether or not at some point the playgrounds could be used.
Okay, and if recess cannot
Okay,
be outside due to
One more
weather,
question, Sarah, okay? Because we've got a lot of people here. We only have a half hour left, so go ahead.
I know. If recess is not outside due to weather issues,
Yes.
is it going to be in the multipurpose room, or are the kids going to stay in their classrooms?
Business as usual with social distancing adhered to.
Okay.
Okay?
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Take good care. We'll talk to you soon. Hello, Candace. How are you?
Hello,
Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate your patience. I know this is quite probably frustrating for you as it is for us. I have a new kindergartner that will be joining the district.
Congratulations.
So we currently send him out for private preschool in another district. So my only question is, what are we doing about, there's no kindergarten orientation, there was no kindergarten screening. So naturally, he's my only child. I've never been in any of your schools. How are we going to be able to orient him to the space and how he gets to the building and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that.
So the orientation, I know the principals have worked in the spring because that's when we usually have our orientation, but there will be some way of welcoming your child and you to the building. So the principals are working on that as we speak. In terms of the screening, we are looking at a plan to screen students. Usually we try to screen them by the end of September. It will be extended this year because we are limited in terms of the social distancing and things of that nature. But all kindergartners will be screened.
Okay, and then for the virtual on the other days, are the kindergartners expected to be on the computer for an extended period of time?
So the teachers are working on it. We know, and we are you know, we don't want students, well, in other words, we are concerned about screen time. We understand that screen time is not the best time for, you know, always to be on the computer. So there will be activities, as you know, things for children to do away from the computer. They'll have read alouds and things of that nature, but there'll more to come as the teachers develop their schedules.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Candace, thanks for your questions. Is that Aisha next? Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hey, there she is.
Hi, is my dad here too? Grandpa.
Hello, Dad.
Hello.
How are you?
Grandpa.
Good. Nice talk to you. How you doing? It looks like
Good.
very busy.
For sure, you guys look good.
All right, so my son is going into kindergarten. I just wanted to know the 30 to 35% that don't want the hybrid or the distance learning model. Why can't the district arrange another convenient location so every child has an equal level of education in all regions? Because I know other districts are doing 5 days a week, and my son is going 2 days a week. And I'm not a teacher. I can't do what the teachers do the other 3 days. So how are we gonna? Why can't the school find another outsource another building?
Yeah,
and
you
follow,
know,
still follow the same guidelines.
yeah, that's a great suggestion. But remember, we've been working on this since last year, and lots of
So
time.
you've had enough time, right? You had enough time, and we pay taxes, so we've had enough time for this.
Thank you for that. So so our plan is what our plan is now. That took the entire summer to put together. We have approved from the state of New York, our hybrid model is where we began. We expanded that because of parents' interest in the continuation of 100% DL. So that's our plan. And with 2 weeks left before the start of the school, that's what we're working with. So I wish I could say to you that we had other options, such as the one that you're suggesting, but it wasn't part of our plan, and it's not going into this year.
Okay, Grandpa, want to add something?
Yeah, so when I'm expecting that you're going to finalize the 5-day school for my grandson.
Finalize, say it again, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
And I finalize like which days or when I'm sure that that my grandson is going for 5 days.
If we could have done that for this September 8th, sir, I would have done it. But our entire plan is around the fact that this is the best way we believe and the safest way to bring our kids back to school for a period of time and not here for 5 days, so that we can keep them safe and healthy. And that's where we are right now. But your question is, I would love to have been able to do it yesterday. Maybe we'll get there this year. We just got to see how the rest of the country works in getting rid of and eradicating this virus. And then we can get our kids back to school 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's I'm concerned because it's not fair with the other students going for 5 days, and my grandson is going for 3 days or 2 days.
Yes.
So it's a lack of education with the equality.
Well, it's going to be a lot different on those 3 days that they're home than it was in the springtime. We believe that our plan is going to come together, and the connection that our teachers are going to make with their students and their parents at home on those 3 days are going to be substantial. So hang in there. And we want your feedback, as we will be asking our parents after the school year begins, just exactly how things are going. So your feedback is going to be important to us.
Yeah,
Thank you very
other
much.
question, they answered it.
They answered it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
All right, you want to ask something?
That's it. No,
Yeah.
that's it.
Hey, guys.
All right, thank you
Good
very
luck
much
this
for
year.
your help.
Good luck this
Thank
year.
you.
Thank you for your
Thank
question.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening. I think Sharon is up next.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for entertaining my one question very quickly.
Take your time. Thank you.
When will the students be given their schedules at the secondary level?
Usually we try to get them out as soon as possible. I would anticipate by the end of next week. If not, certainly the latest would be the Monday, that August 30th or so. So
I'm asking specifically, my son is going to 7th grade and he has his orientation. Will they be given their schedules at the orientation or prior to? How does that going to work? Do you
We would
know?
love to be able to do that, but can't guarantee it until we see exactly where we stand with all our sections, with our staff. You know, we do have staff who may be asking for leave of absences because of pre-existing illnesses. So until that all comes together and we know exactly how to staff our buildings, and we think we're okay with that, I can't guarantee that that'll be given that day, but we're trying real hard.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good question, Sharon. Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Alexandria.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you? Good evening, administrators and Longwood families. My
Great to see
husband and
you.
I are new to the district. We came in the middle of, well, in January of last year, and then COVID hit. Our question is very simple. We want to do 100% distance learning because all of our children have upper respiratory illnesses.
Okay.
However, our incoming 4th grader has a touch of dyslexia.
Okay.
So how will student support, well, how will teachers identify a student in need if they require support? And secondly, how will evaluations for IEPs occur in a distance learning setting?
So business as usual through all of that, and any child that may pose a concern about their learning, our processes that have always been there prior to the pandemic will be there. You'll work closely with your child's classroom teacher and the administration in that school. IEP formation and meetings with special education department, that's all continues the way we always have it. It may be virtual at some point, but the services are all intact going forward.
Okay, and the reason why I'm asking this is because I don't know business as usual. Again, we're new to the community.
Sure, beautiful.
And we're also
Great.
new to the IEP
Yes.
situation.
Okay.
Things were identified with our daughter during the previous distance learning in terms of what she struggles with. And that was identified through my husband and I.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that if we opt in for the 100% distance learning because of their health issues,
Yes.
that the teacher who is doing the distance learning will be able to identify what she struggles with, as well as how we move forward with an IEP evaluation in the distance learning setting.
Yep.
I don't know how that
and a lot of that will determine our communication with you and yours with your child's teacher. So let's get ahead of that before school starts, especially because you're new to our school district. So contacting our special education department, she's looking at it right now, and that's Mrs. Jen McCarthy and her staff. So feel free to reach out to her over the next couple of weeks, along with your building principal, and eventually with the assigned teacher. And we're going to work with you so that you understand the process.
Okay, and lastly, if we do decide, because our daughter is a tactile learner, if we do decide the hybrid model for specifically her, is that possible? Just so she can get the student, and teacher relationship going on versus just sitting in front of the computer and we're all just trying to figure it all out.
So if you start off with the hybrid for that one child, that would be fine.
Okay.
And so if your concerns are about her, her
learning style, her learning
right.
style.
So you could start with that one child as a hybrid and leave the other ones home, if that's what, okay?
All right, our son is an incoming kindergartner, and again, with the same thing, he was in the preschool for a matter of weeks and then snatched out of it. So we don't really understand how he learns either. So we can also use the hybrid model for him just to see, because I heard another mom say something about screening, but what does that mean?
Oh, the kindergarten will be screened. They make them, there are a few things, but for screening, they probably will have your child, they'll give you an appointment to come in to the school for the screening, even if they're distance learning.
Understood. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys and all of the information that you have set forth for us. specifically the new people who are coming into the district.
Yeah.
And thank you
Yeah,
so much.
listen, reach out to us. Do not be afraid to pick up the phone and make those calls, considering that there is things that you need to learn about the district and how things work. So please do that, okay? And if you run into a jam anywhere, you know my name and you know my email address. You feel free to reach out to me during that transition period, okay?
Very well. Thank you so much.
You betcha. Okay, we got about 15 minutes to go. We got a bunch of people still here, so we're going to continue. Giselle, see who's up next.
Hello,
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay.
So we opted for the full virtual learning.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, will there be virtual orientations, especially because both of the kids are entering 7th and 9th? But I saw there was a computer component to it because they're entering new schools. So how is that going to work?
So they are part of the class and they are invited to the orientation. So your 7th grader will be entering the junior high and your 9th grader will be going to the high school.
But we're still social distancing. You know, we're paranoid. So
absolutely, and understand the orientation is created social distancing. It's not like everybody's coming in at the same time.
Okay.
You will have given a specific time and date to come
And that's
in.
only for the students. The parents cannot attend.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure I'm comfortable with that, but I guess that's a personal problem, a personal email. So I was just wanting clarity on that about
You
the
can
virtual.
always follow up with your questions after that. Not a problem.
All right, thank you so much. I was just more around possible virtual orientations as well.
Okay, it's great to have you. Good. Thank you. Have a good night. I see Tracy's next. Hello, Tracy. How are you tonight?
Hi.
Hi.
My question is regarding the testing, and it seems like you have pretty clear guidance on what your protocol should be if someone tests positive. Is there someplace that we can, look it up? Do you have it posted on the website somewhere?
Yeah.
Because I have concerns about.
Yeah, we were required to do that by last Friday, so it's there for you to take a look at.
Okay, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
my question as far as your role in that is, what would be your trigger and when would you require somebody be tested? And how soon would you know, like what's your follow-up? Do you confirm that they've been tested? How soon will you know if they were positive or not? Because all of that would determine how quickly you can have the rest of the classroom that has been exposed or possibly children on the bus, so that they would all be quarantined for 14 days. So what would that look like? What would your trigger be, first of all?
The trigger would be we are really siding on safety here, and as we mentioned before, certainly if we're told that a staff member or a child was diagnosed with this virus, that kicks into a process that we work closely with the Department of Health on, right? But under normal circumstances, when children are coming to school and they have a fever or they're not feeling well, our practice is going to be to follow up with parents and encourage them to bring their children or a staff member to their doctor to be examined, and then we take our lead from the physician as to whether or not they're going to be tested, whether they wouldn't be tested, and then it would fall under the same protocol, certainly if somebody is
So
not.
when you say encourage, do you mean encourage or require? And how is that?
Yeah, we can't require a family to take their child to a doctor, but we strongly encourage in this climate, should a child be ill, to please take them to your doctor and follow the lead from.
Child is ill and they're not required to take them to the doctor, they're just allowed to come back to school? Or is there also, any kind of regulation that you're imposing on them if they do not take their child to the doctor?
Yeah, we're kind of stuck in the middle of that the only thing that we can do with our protocol is when a child or a staff member is diagnosed with COVID-19. Other than that, we're trying to be very safe with parents and encourage them and work with them, should a child be sent home because of a temperature, to have them tested or have them examined by their doctor.
And do you,
And we
is
don't
there,
have any problem with our parents in the past doing that. They work with us very well.
this is just an extraordinary situation, so.
This is an extraordinary situation. That's correct. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, Tracy, thank you very much. We have the Buckley family. I'm sorry, my eyes are getting a little bit tired. Mobley, I'm sorry. Mobley family, hello.
Hey there. Can you hear
Hello,
me?
hello. Yeah, loud and clear.
Hi, how are you?
You're doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. We're all hanging in.
Good to hear.
So my question is, and I'll keep it brief. I know you got a lot of people waiting. You said that you deep clean on Wednesdays. So my daughter in the hybrid is going to school Monday, Tuesday. You're going to deep clean Wednesday, and then the other students are coming Thursday, Friday. Do you have any intentions on cleaning on the weekends then?
Mr. Hardy.
Well, if we run into a problem that we're not clean enough on a Friday, yeah, we would extend that into a Saturday. But we have a pretty good protocol. We've been through this before from the spring, so we got a pretty good handle on it. And then we've increased the equipment we had from the spring to now, so we're pretty confident that we can handle everything every night.
So the reason why I'm asking is, if you're only cleaning Wednesdays, that means the students that are going to school on Thursday and Friday are going to benefit from that deep cleaning. But then
Sure,
if you don't clean on the weekends, when my daughter comes in on Monday, Tuesday, you know, you see where I'm going with it?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Maybe we confused you. So our procedure is we clean our buildings every evening with deep cleaning planned on the days on Wednesday. So the cohorts that come back to school on Monday, that building will be cleaned.
Understood. And that's it.
That's it?
That's it. I'm not gonna take advantage. I know there are other parents that are gonna ask
You're a
questions. Thank you
sweetheart.
very much.
You know where we are. Okay.
All right. Take care.
Thanks so much. What's the name? Sandra. Hello, Sandra.
Hello?
Hello, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good to hear. How can we help?
All right. My question is about the busing. If there's a child on the bus that refuses to wear the mask or keeps taking it off and distance themselves, do they get a warning or they automatically suspended from the bus?
So the key word there is children, and we understand that. And we know that we're going to have children of all ages have some difficulty with the mask wearing. We get that. Our approach is going to be more of a counseling approach and more of an education approach to get our kids to understand that we need to do this because we love each other and we need to take care of one another. And I know that you love your mom and dad, and I know that you love your brothers and sisters, and the child sitting behind you on the bus loves their family. And we're in this together, Mike and Jerry and Patty, and we need you to be wearing your mask. That's the process that we're starting with all of our children. But of course, we're dealing with human beings, and we may have some difficulty up the road with some of our students with masks. But the hammer on their head, as far as being suspended for it, only in extreme situations, in my opinion.
Okay, now you said with the bathroom, you're gonna have somebody on the outside to make sure they wash their hands. Now we know that there are some people that don't wash their hands. And even if they do wash their hands, they're still gonna be touching the faucet to turn the water off after they wash their hands. So washing their hands really doesn't do anything because they're gonna touch the knob to come out the bathroom. So wouldn't it be feasible to have the hand sanitizer dispensed in the hallway so they could use that when they come out the bathroom?
Yeah, that's tough for us to do because there's a lot of human beings walking through that hallway, and we find that when things get hung up in the hall, they usually end up on the floor at some point. And we'd rather have them functional in the classroom than in the hallway. So that's our plan. You know, our plan is you're going to use the bathroom, you're going to wash your hands. We're going to show the kids how to wash their hands. We'll show them how to use the hand sanitizer. That's where we're spending most of our time in the beginning of the school year, trying to get our kids really into a good, healthy routine. I hope I
Okay,
answered your question.
okay, my last question. Why didn't the district mandate that everyone at the beginning of the year, before they're allowed to enter into the school building, take the test so that you know before you go into the school that no one in that building is positive? Because right now it's a Russian roulette thing. You don't know who in there is positive.
Yeah, we can't do that because we're not permitted to test any of our staff or children. That's something that families and individuals can do on their own. I see the point on that. It would make sense. So let's say, for example, that was to happen and then everybody go home that night. That's no guarantee. At least we would know, I guess, within 5 days of September 8th, who would be ill and who would not be ill. But it certainly doesn't help us going forward on the next day and the next connection with somebody. So, but the bottom line is we can't do that. We're not permitted to test our students or our staff, unless unless is only when they may be suspected because of the symptomatic issues.
Yeah, but you also said if they had a fever and you
Yes.
send them home,
Yes.
you still can't mandate them to get the test.
Well, we plan on lots of close communication with anybody in that situation to where we believe after our communication is up, we're going to get a lot of good compliance from our families. We're not going to let up on them because we care. And we haven't had that issue with our parents over the years here. They're great with their kids. When they're ill, they take them to the doctor, and when they can't, we help them get to the doctor. And we'll continue to do that.
Okay.
Okay?
It's just a
Okay.
scary situation right
It's
now.
scary, but we're going to do this because we're going to do it together, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So hang in there, okay? And wash your hands. Okay, thank you. Who's up next? Dawn? Dawn? How you doing, Dawn? We got about 5 minutes left, guys, so let's get a number of questions in, okay? Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
All right, most of my questions did get answered tonight.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
About the end of last year, obviously for the kids and for the teachers, this was a shock to everybody. What happened to the grades from last year? My son, up until the end of last year, was, a high honors straight A student, and he does have autism, but it's very mild. So it's never affected him as far as grades, just more in a social anxiety kind of aspect. Now I have to request an IEP because of the situation. He did not handle this well at all. He didn't do well with the distant learning at all, and the situation has changed the way he's handling things.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how they would deal with, how is the school going to deal with such a student that is capable of getting such good grades, but socially had issues, major anxiety, doesn't do well with distant learning at all. He totally tanks. And what is going to happen with the students that, their grades were so horrible last year? What happens with those grades? That's like basically holding you guys responsible for last year too. This was nobody's fault what happened. This is a worldwide situation.
Gotcha, thank you.
So in terms of, we have made a concerted effort to understand that our children have experienced things that, as well as the adults, that have not, it's unprecedented. So we are making sure that we train, provide professional development to our teachers, our counselors, our mental health will be providing them and our administrators professional development and understanding the children's experience, anxiety, whatever trauma they have gone through. So that's going to be ongoing. But in terms of your child specifically, I would say you have to talk to the principal, make sure if there's a counselor or a social worker in each of our buildings and a psychologist. That's where I would start with, and make sure that your child's needs are being addressed in that fashion.
Okay, now do you recommend or do I do an IEP for this kind of situation? Like we've dealt with our family doctor. We're dealing with therapy, going through, insurance. We did try medication so far. It didn't work out.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know what? I think for your specific concern, I would start at the building that your child is attending and go it through the principal and create a team there with the mental health, the nurse, and the teacher, so that you can best provide the best services for your child.
Okay, so he's going into the 9th grade. So who would I speak to?
Well, Mr. Schuster is the principal. You'd have to see your last name is M. Which counselor would be handling your child?
Well, his last name would be D, so I would go by the student, correct?
Right, the students. So that I would start there. And the guidance department, Ms. Garrett, who oversees the guidance department, she would certainly help you or anyone else in that building.
Okay.
Dawn, stay in touch with us, okay? And let us know if you're getting the connection and the communication with our building folks. I have no doubt that will not happen. So please make sure that you're connecting with them as soon as you can, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Good luck and stay in touch with us. Folks, we have time for one more question for this evening. Tomorrow, we'll be back again with you at 11 a.m. We're adding an additional hour onto our session tomorrow to try to accommodate as many folks in their questions as we can. Please stay in close contact with our website with the questions and answers that are being posted and refined every day. And certainly after tomorrow, there's going to be plenty of information coming to you from the district, in particular from your children's buildings. There's going to be continued questions, and we're going to do our best to answer them whenever we can, okay? So we're good with one more, and that is?
Sadie or Sade?
Sadie. You're going to wrap it
Hi,
up?
it's Sade. It's Sade, actually.
It's a beautiful
Thank
name.
you. Thank you. Really quickly, I just wanted to know, are there going to be modified student and staff mobility during the school day?
So give it to us one more time as far as your question. I'm sorry. We just get
my question was, yep. My question was, is there going to be modified student staff mobility during the day? Like my child goes to CEW and she's entering the 4th grade. Will she only be for the 2 days that she's there only in her class for the entire duration of the day, or will they be mobilizing to other electives like the library, computer room, etc.?
So wherever our principals can arrange our kids to be out of the classroom and to be able to be in any of those programs, the library in particular, we just got to be sure that they're socially distant. And if we're comfortable with that, we can continue. If not, some of those things may happen back in the classroom.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you take good care and we'll speak with you soon, okay?
Thank you, bye-bye.
So ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. I know that there are folks saying there, I've been waiting since 7 o'clock. Let's try to get together again tomorrow morning with you. And if after that time at 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, there are still questions, we're going to do our best to continue keeping things open and answering them, okay? So thanks for your patience. We're going to get there. This is going to be okay, I promise you. So take care of yourselves, take care of your children, and we look forward to seeing everybody the week of September 8th and before that. Lots more information to come. Have a good evening, okay?